Hi, everybody. Welcome to Taylor Tuesday 2023. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying that it's 2023, and I can't believe we've been doing these programs for almost 3 years, these webinars. Um, when all of this started, obviously the world completely changed. And we just wanted to try and bring the community and the family of our profession together. And I think that we've done a really, really good job. You may notice some changes moving forward. This is actually my first time moderating in months after doing it for almost 18 months without missing a meeting. So it's nice to be back, and I'm really honored to be here with a very dear friend and colleague, Andy Bhatia. I don't know that I've ever called him Amish in my whole life, but he is one of my dearest friends that the profession has given me, and we're going to be moderating this program together. And I just really want to thank everybody for taking their time away from their families on a Tuesday evening to learn about some new technology. And Andy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Ira, and great to have you back. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to our viewers, and also to Mike Jackson, who's our presenter today. And hope you enjoy it, as I think we all are looking forward to as well. Today's webinar is called Trusted Indoor Spaces Within Medical Practices. And as you can see on the slide there, our presenter is Mike Jackson, the founder of Active Pure Technology. More about him in just a minute. As you can see there, our Taylor Tuesdays are now back for the new year, and we are going to be doing this. Am I correct? Is it the first or second Tuesday of every month? I think that's what we've been doing. But anyhow, if you happen to miss these, you can. If you happen to miss these, you can find the replay of tonight as well as previous webinars, and you can find it on our website at www.taylormedical.com, and you look for webinars located in the upper right-hand corner. And what is Taylor Medical anyway? So before we move on to the presentation, I'm just going to briefly tell you about Taylor Medical in case you're not familiar, or if this is the first time you're joining a Taylor Tuesday, I'd like to welcome you. Taylor Medical is a GPO or a group purchasing organization, and what it does is they leverage the buying power of their members to negotiate discounts with key vendors in the podiatry industry, and that in turn saves you, the doctors and your practices, money on the products, supplies, and capital equipment that you're already ordering anyhow for your practice. And here's the best part: not only is the membership free, but you also receive a 1% annual rebate on all your qualifying purchases. So really, there's no reason not to join. In order to join, you just sign up for a free, no obligation cost analysis. All you have to do is email an Excel spreadsheet with 3 months of your most recent ordering history, and you send that to admin@taylormedical.com. admin@taylormedical.com, and that's all you need to do. And you get started, and they'll be able to tell you how much you can save. And I guarantee you that you will be eager to become a member right after. So I encourage you to do that. On to our presentation, and let me tell a little bit about our presenter first before we go on. Our presenter is Mike Jackson. As I said earlier, he's the founder of Active Pure Technology. He's a 44-year veteran within the air purification industry. Since the introduction of Active Pure Technology, Mike has served as national field leader, providing advanced product knowledge and training to various diverse target markets, including medical, businesses, schools, sports facilities, churches, government facilities, and homes. And we welcome Mike Jackson. Thank you, Mike. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kraus and Dr. Bhatia. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with our distinguished listeners tonight. Before I start, I always like to be a little bit personal and let you know who I am and why I'm here. And I started in business, as the doctor said, about 44 years ago. My wife and I started our business with $25 grocery seed money. That grew to $3.5 billion in sales, 1,100 full-time employees, and the 17th largest sales force independent in America. I don't say that to brag in any way, but simply to say that I've been around the block. I do about 75 to 90 of these online meetings with groups of professionals pretty much weekly. Today I'm in Merritt Island, Florida. I live up in Wisconsin in the summer, but I live in the south because it's way too cold up there in the winter. And last night I got to see the Falcon 9 rocket ship take off, literally almost from my backyard. So that was a pretty cool experience. Let's talk about Active Pure. And a company is important behind the scenes, because if you have a technology, if you have a product, especially a technology product, it's important to have a company that's backing it up, a company that invests in the research and development, a company that does the appropriate testing and certifications, and you will see we have all that. I sold my company a dozen years ago to the gentleman on the left. His name is Mr. Joe Urso. He was just earned the finalist in the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year because of this technology. We are a Dallas-based corporation, and the facility you're seeing on the right-hand bottom side is our 500,000 square foot facility in Bristol, Virginia. All of our manufacturing is done worldwide, but also every technology goes through that facility in Bristol, Virginia. Now, when I'm dealing with the medical profession, I deal with a lot of professionals, gentlemen. I've opened up over 250,000 schoolrooms in the last year. The San Antonio School District, about 6,000 of our technologies are there. The Philadelphia school system, over 15,000 of our systems, and the list goes on and on. Dunkin' Donuts, businesses, over 10,000 units. But the bottom line is medical is completely different than all of those areas. And so we have a specific medical division that markets to and works with folks like you, medical professions. It's a higher level of importance when you get into the medical world. Infectious disease prevention is a big deal. And so for Taylor Medical, this is the first time we have ever gone outside of our normal procedure of working directly with corporate, with hospitals and medical facilities. And that's because of the quality of Taylor. We've spent some time doing our research too, and that's why the decision was made to bring our technology for the very first time into this GPO. Our company has invested millions into R&D and in testing. In the slide that you're looking at, the Cleveland Clinic today has 100 of the Active Pure systems you're going to learn about right in operating rooms. Now, this is a 2-year study that's almost completed. And we get a little bit of interface as to what's going on. After 1 year, if the results weren't good, they were going to pull the study. We're almost done with the second year. And we know, it's not official yet, but we have reduced nosocomial infections like C. diff and MRSA to virtually zero in operating rooms. So I always say, hey, if this can be used in operating rooms, imagine what it's going to do in a waiting room or in an office in a medical facility. This is not like old-fashioned passive technology. Have you ever seen a UV light in a facility somewhere sitting on the wall? And did you ever wonder if that light is so effective in eliminating bacteria or viruses or mold, spores, mycotoxins? How do they get over there, all of them, and how do they get close to that UV light for 2 or 3 seconds, 2 inches away? Because that's what it takes to inactivate them. The answer is they don't. When you look at HEPA filtration that raises electrical cost up to 3 times. How does a particle, let's take the Philadelphia schools, 15,000 classrooms. How do those particles jump off of a desk and get into a magic carpet airflow, get into a HEPA filter somewhere? The answer is they don't. Most of these technologies are feel-good technologies. They make the purveyor, they make the customer feel good. They've got filtration, but they don't really do anything. Our technology does a lot, as you're going to see. Now, the CDC says that there is a hierarchy of control. Things like personal protective equipment is important. You wear a mask when you're working on somebody's foot or ankle and doing an operation, right? That's important. But the elimination of the contaminant in the environment before it ever gets to somebody's body or somebody's nostrils or somebody's lungs, that's the important thing. And in the Cleveland Clinic study, those bodies were opened up for 1 hour, the body cavity, in an operation. And we still reduced nosocomial infections to virtually 0. So this is a different kind of a technology, something that most people have never seen before. And we've got lots and lots of research, lots and lots of studies that we provided Taylor before we made this decision to be partners in bringing this technology to the world. And our studies are not done at the local laboratory where you can pay $1,000 to somebody to get them to say whatever you want. We have peer-reviewed, published studies, FDA-cleared studies in biosafety level 4 laboratories that are the top in the world today. You know, this is a simple study that was done that shows what happens in a treatment room, in the main therapy facility, on the mats, actually on surfaces. You're going to learn why this works not only in air, but on surfaces, on door handles, on light switches. And you can see the reduction of bacteria in this particular pediatric therapy office was dramatic. And we've got literally hundreds of studies and research that we can share with you if you're interested. This is an important MIT study because I deal a lot, as I said earlier, with schools and with churches and businesses. Imagine, and I'm going to show you a video at the end of our short presentation of what happens when somebody walks into your facility in one of your offices, and there's 4 or 5 people in the waiting room, and we think, well, if they stay 6 feet away from each other, they'll probably be okay. MIT says, look, it doesn't matter if you're 6 feet away or 60 feet away. And let me show you why. In a classroom or in a waiting room with 30 patients or 30 students in the room, the average individual breathes 720 exhales per hour. So now you multiply that by 30 in a 900 square foot room. That's over 20,000 breaths going into that room. Gentlemen and ladies, how long does it take for one sick person, in your case, one sick patient, in the other case, one sick student, to infect the entire room and cause everybody to get sick? And pretty soon they're shutting our business down. They're putting tape over the door saying you can't do business. Pretty soon people are afraid to come. So we have a technology that does real-time inactivation of SARS-CoV-2, inactivation of bacteria, inactivation of mold in real time. And I'll share that data with you, excuse me, momentarily. I did tell you when we got started that I was in a room with about 1,000 people, and I ended up, maybe I didn't tell you, I told the doctors I ended up getting COVID, which I have right now. So if I start coughing a little bit, you know why. We have reinvented the indoor air sanitization, indoor air purification, and helping to protect indoor environments. We don't want to be, I'm going to put a cough drop in. Thank you. We don't want to be in unprotected spaces. Your customers, your patients are afraid to come into unprotected spaces. So part of the job that we have is protecting environments and also educating our customers, educating our employees, educating our patients that the spaces that they're coming into are going to be, excuse me, the cleanest, healthiest spaces that they will visit in the entire week. How amazing would that be if they felt like, and if it was true, that they were coming into your offices, into your waiting rooms, and it was the cleanest, healthiest air that they would breathe all week, and it was the cleanest, healthiest surfaces that they would touch all week. As I will show you, that is true. Our technology was originally birthed in NASA research for the International Space Station. You remember the movie about Mars, where he was trying to grow potatoes on Mars? NASA was trying to grow crops on the International Space Station. And the outgassing from the astronauts was actually polluting the air inside. And they developed a technology. Thanks for bearing with me. They developed a technology that did not use filters, that would purify every square inch of air in every surface on the ISS. That technology is what we got a hold of early on. We patented it, we advanced it, and we developed it for use here on Earth. And that moved us into the International Space Technology Hall of Fame, along with things like LASIK surgery, things like satellite TV and GPS. And so our technology is at the highest levels of science and has put us into those honorary categories. Okay. So ActivePure is a patented technology that, this is a key part of our discussion. It's an active technology that moves from a device throughout the waiting room, throughout your operating rooms, throughout every square inch of your facility. And as it moves throughout the environment, as it contacts things like envelope viruses. Are you familiar with envelope viruses? Envelope viruses are what SARS-CoV-2 grow in. It's like a cocoon. It's like an embryo. It lives inside. Okay, and what our technology does is, as soon as ActivePure leaves our system, you're seeing the ActivePure cell on the left side. What this replicates is what sunshine and moisture does outdoors. Okay, outside, sunshine and moisture move at rapid speeds and create millions and millions and millions of cleansing agents. That's why Dr. Deborah Birx, who heads up my medical and science division, she says, go outside and eat your lunch. Don't eat inside Applebee's, because it's easier to get sick indoors than it is outdoors. Because outdoors, nature naturally creates these cleansing agents. They move through the environment outdoors and they clean things up. But we don't have that benefit, even with air exchanges. Sunshine can't come inside your buildings and mix with that moisture and create these cleansers. So we replicate and duplicate nature's cleansing power and move it to your indoor environments, where we are able to inactivate and clean the most dangerous pathogens known to man today. This is an example of some of the studies. We have hundreds of them. They're done at major facilities that are FDA certified laboratories. With SARS-CoV-2, originally, the first studies that we did said that in 3 minutes, we reduced the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19 to 99.96% reduction in 3 minutes. We went back and we said, wait a minute, 3 minutes, how much does it reduce it in 1 minute? We redid that study and it cost about $100,000 to do that. And they said in 1 minute, it was the exact same reduction, 99.96%. What they figured out is that it's virtually working on contact. Well, how about surfaces? How about in your, excuse me, facilities? How does it work on surfaces? Surfaces take a little bit longer because you've got porous materials in your offices, your operating rooms, your desk, and our technology actually penetrates into the surfaces. So it'll take about 7 hours of operating the technology before we reach critical mass. Okay, once we reach critical mass, it's virtually instantaneous. These words here are simply, look, we did not test at low-rated facilities. We tested at the highest biosafety laboratory, level 4 in the world. Facilities that are designed to withstand a nuclear attack. Why? Because we test the real viruses. We don't test surrogates. We test the real thing, and that's rarely done. So these graphs and charts simply show you what happens when Active Pure is in your facilities, in your businesses, in your offices for between 1 minute up to 7 hours. Okay. Now, when we did the transition of these slides through WeTransfer, we lost some of the photographs for some reason, and we just found out an hour or so ago. And so there's some missing photos here. So I'm going to give you a visual picture. This is a Petri dish before Active Pure. Okay, I can do this test in a schoolroom, in an operating room, in a lobby, in a restaurant or a home. And I always get the same result. Mold, bacteria, and viruses that are moving through the air, getting into the dish. We incubate the dish for about 5 days. We then, the pictures that are supposed to be there are dishes that after we run Active Pure, usually for 24 hours, and then do another test dish, and they virtually every time are clean. They are spotless. This technology is deadly on mold, on bacteria, and on viruses. They make our homes, our businesses, our operating rooms, all of our facilities the cleanest, the healthiest that they can be. An active technology, not a passive technology. I already mentioned that we are in the Space Technology Hall of Fame. We were inducted with LASIK surgery and GPS and so forth. And the only reason I say that is it took 10 years. And I apologize for my handkerchiefs and my water, but I'm trying to get through this without getting into a coughing fit. Our technology is very esteemed. The kind of technologies that were used years ago are great for dust or pet dander or things like that. But they're not effective at the vast majority of the mold, the viruses, and the bacteria that are in indoor environments. And once again, because the very nature, you could have the cleanest doctor's office on the planet. If you have people that come in there, let me ask you, say it this way. Do you think that the International Space Station is clean? The answer is, of course it is. Why do they need this technology? Because people pollute the environment. The outgassing from the astronauts or the outgassing from your patients is what pollutes the environment. So no matter how clean you are, this technology replicates and duplicates the way nature cleans outdoors. These are the same studies that we've talked about. It doesn't matter if it's RNA viruses or DNA viruses, envelope viruses, mycotoxins that come from mold. All of this technology very effectively interacts with that. Another thing that's kind of cool is that we just did a study, ladies and gentlemen, and we're about to have a press release, I believe, this week. I haven't even talked to Taylor about this yet. But the study was an 11-month study on one of the largest hospital chains around. And they were dealing with lots and lots of C. diff and lots of MRSA infections. They thought if our technology could reduce it by 20%, it would be a game changer. Do you know how much we reduced it during that entire 11 months? 100%. No C. diff, no MRSA infections. Can you imagine? See, and from a marketing standpoint, how would it be with your clients and customers if we could partner with you with stickers that say this space is defended, this space has been purified with Active Pure, originated at NASA. These are very, very strong statements to your customers. Now, this has nothing to do with your doctor's office, but I like to show it anyway. This was a live hotel room. And in the hotel room, we took a remote control. By the way, you might not want to go into a hotel room after this overview. And we are going to have a chance for Q&A at the end, and that's going to be coming pretty quickly. And so if you have questions about Active Pure or about our company or about the studies or about the difference between passive and active or longevity of the technology, write them down and let's have some good discussion afterwards. But look at this. On the remote control in a live hotel room, there was 920 colonies of fungi and 4,285 colonies of bacteria. We ran Active Pure, as you can see, for 24 hours. How much fungi or bacteria was on the remote control after 24 hours of Active Pure in the room? 0. Folks, this is a game-changing technology. It's a level of an extra level of protection, and it's very inexpensive when you consider what the benefits are. So we are now doing studies across the entire country on absenteeism reduction. And I have new studies that did not come over in the transfer. And let me tell you what they are. We took Active Pure and we put them into a large elementary school and to a large high school. And when Active Pure was introduced, it reduced bacteria found on surfaces and in air by over 98%. But that equated to a 53% reduction in absenteeism. If kids aren't getting sick, man, that's a game changer in the education world. And in your business, if your employees aren't getting sick, your nurses aren't getting sick, one patient isn't getting another patient sick, that can be a big, big deal. So we across the board, this is staph infections. In Ohio, there was a outbreak of staph infections at an Ohio school. They tried the first year just using sprays and wipe downs, and they didn't get much results. In the second year, they did the same thing. And in the third year, they installed Active Pure, and we reduced staph infections to 0. One of the reasons that Major League Baseball has this technology through most of their facilities is because they don't want to get these multi-million-dollar athletes sick with a cut on their foot, stepping on the floor, and getting a staph infection. This is our main system. It's called the Air and Surface Pro. Now, this is not designed for a 20,000 square foot hospital, but it's perfect for waiting rooms or smaller operating rooms or facilities. It's freestanding, it's nice looking, it's completely quiet, and this will cover 2,000 square feet. Now, Taylor has been given the authority to market a variety of our delivery systems. Okay, some are installed into HVAC systems. Some are freestanding like this. And when we're done, the Taylor folks will show you how you can get that GPO pricing that we don't give to anybody. This is a high demand product. I always say this is the first product I've marketed out of $3.5 billion in marketing sales where the customer wanted the technology more than I wanted them to have it. This is a high demand technology. So we have a complete lineup of technologies perfect for your business environment. I already mentioned professional sports. This has been a really big deal for professional sports, taking down bacteria, fungi, MRSA, air particles. It does the whole job, ladies and gentlemen. In kind of winding down, how does Active Pure work? So this is the cell that I talked about earlier. And I want you to think about this cell in essence like you would think of sunshine. What it does is it produces a high intensity 254 nanometer UV ray that shines on rare metals that are impregnated into the cell. Moisture comes through from your normal moisture in your operation there, and it creates these hydroxyl cleansers that come out into the environment, and between 1 minute and 7 hours, depending on if we're dealing with air or if we're dealing with surfaces, it will sanitize, inactivate, and purify that environment. Anything it hits, gentlemen and ladies, DNA and RNA viruses, swine flu, avian bird flu, if I had a way to put these into livestock facilities and in turkey facilities, literally 60 million birds would have lived, because this thing destroys avian bird flu. And here's the really cool thing. It's safe for you. It's safe for your patients. Just like sunshine and moisture outdoors is safe. Nobody ever thought that it was dangerous to go outdoors. But is it okay to be inside a facility where harsh chemicals are being sprayed every day, or everything's being wiped down with harsh chemicals? Probably not a good idea, right? So this is a different way of looking at things. It's the most protection. Studies show that Active Pure is so effective it would take 60 air exchanges to reach that level of purity. It's guaranteed measurable results. You don't have to guess, okay? It's very affordable. We reduce the average daily attendance by your employees, the average daily attendance by your staff and your customers. It does not require regular filter changes because it's filterless technology, and it's based on credibility and trust in science instead of science fiction, which a lot of products out there are. Where is it used? Better question is, where is it not used? Now, what I'd like to do is, before we finish up and go to Q&A and see how good I am at this new platform I've never used before, is I'm going to show you a short video. It's only 40 seconds long. Let's watch.
This is how pathogens such as SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for COVID-19, spreads throughout a waiting room from patient to patient if untreated. Slow and ineffective technologies like HEPA filters or UV lights only treat the air that goes through the filter or the virus and bacterium directly exposed. Active Pure technology takes a proactive approach by continuously filling the room with powerful molecules, including gaseous hydrogen peroxide, that quickly attack harmful pathogens as soon as they enter the space. Active Pure is effective against a broad spectrum of airborne and surface pathogens.
Okay. Doctor,
Hey.
that's the end of my presentation. Did I do a good enough job for you, sir?
You did a great job.
Thank you, doctors.
Thank you.
So interesting. The first question that I have, Mr. Jackson, is: will you be showing? And I know the presentation's over. People are asking about the size of the product and the cost, and what is the cost of maintaining these products as well?
Those are great questions. The size is going to depend on which of the technologies that we would put into an environment. Let me just show you the picture that we had before. You can see a little box on the right-hand side. That's a standard unit that covers about 2,000 square feet. It's about 1.5 feet high about like your laptop, a little bit smaller than that. In terms of cost, Taylor has a GPO pricing structure that we don't give to the world, and I prefer not to bring that out on an audio. I'd rather if it's a password protected site just for your doctors, and so you can get all the prices in there. And then in terms of maintenance and warranty and service, it doesn't have monthly filters to change, but annually you're going to replace that active pure cell that we looked at earlier. See that cell right there? In about a year, the potency of the 254 nanometer power system is going to begin to go down. Okay, it's still going to work, but it's going to begin to go down. So we recommend you change that cell annually. And the pricing for the cells is going to be on a typical unit, probably, and I don't know the Taylor pricing exactly, but it's probably about $125 a year to maintain a system like brand new. Dr.
Thank
Kraus.
you very much. And you know, I think one of the other things that you know, is important, and I believe it's a service that you guys offer, but I may be wrong. So if I am, you can correct me. You also, when a clinic may be calling to find out about implementing this technology in their practice, I believe they fill out a survey, and don't you calculate how many types of devices they're going to need, or make recommendations as to what they're going to do? Because obviously, with this technology being so new, and depending on the size of the office, I would imagine that the amount of units would vary.
Yeah, you know, I'm working right now with one of my counterparts on a large international airport. We go all the way down to a single office facility, and so everyone's different, and it's not a one size fits all. So we have an analysis sheet that you guys fill out, the doctors would fill out, telling us about how many people would be normally in a waiting room, how many operating rooms, how many offices, what the sizes are, the ceiling heights, and so forth. It's pretty simple to do. You can do it in 15 minutes. And then we give you a recommendation of which technology we would install. Some environments are better with installed technology right in the HVAC. Other ones are much better with freestanding. So yes, sir, you're correct, Dr. Kraus. We would do a specific analysis. There's no charge for that. And we want a chance to earn your trust and earn your business.
Great. Andy, you want to take the next couple of questions?
Yes. Can you speak to the warranty of the product, and how do you validate that it is working?
So the warranty comes with a standard 3-year parts and labor warranty. Okay. But for our doctors' offices, if you change this cell that you're looking at right now properly every year, we can extend that warranty. We have a service agreement contract where we extend the warranty from 3 years to 4 to 5, all the way up to 10 years. In terms of how you know it's working, the technology has digital readouts that will let you know when service is required, when anything is required to make sure that it's working properly.
Another question is, in a private podiatry practice, what would be the location of placement of the devices, and how much space would they need within the office?
Yep. So imagine that we're dealing with offices that are anywhere from a couple thousand square feet to maybe some bigger ones are 10, 15,000 square feet. I don't know. And so each one would be different. But for example, I would highly recommend the Air and Surface Pro that we looked at right here on the right-hand side for the waiting room area where your clients and customers are coming in. One unit sitting there, maybe with a little sign on it that says this office is protected, the air and surfaces, from bacteria, viruses, and mold by ActivePure. So when customers come in, they're going to walk over, they're going to look at that, they're going to say, wow, that's kind of cool. And then depending on the breakdown of the offices in the back, we might have one system that would go in the HVAC that would feed into all the back offices or operating rooms. So I probably couldn't answer that Dr. Batia, without knowing, each facility differently.
So I have a question. If you're renting your office and you need to make adjustments to the existing HVAC, is that something that the landlord would have a problem with?
There is nobody on the planet Earth that is less technical than me. And I can install one of these into the plenum in literally 10 minutes, and there is no damage. There is nothing that has to be changed, nothing at all, sir.
And it's removable if the practice.
That's right. Yeah, maybe you move to a bigger facility as your business grows because the air is so clean and safe and customers are coming like crazy, and you go into a bigger facility, right?
And so you would take that with you? Is that how that works? And
yes, sir. Or sell it to the landlord and get another one.
And then if you were to move, the reinstallation would be assisted by you guys.
Absolutely.
Great. Let's see.
How I know that the device has been around for a while, Mr. Jackson, and I know that there is a 3-year warranty on parts and labor. But in reality, what is the lifespan of a device like this? Do they need to be replaced periodically?
I have thousands of units. I've installed over let me think here. I've installed over 6 million of these systems, and we have millions that have been running for 10 years, 15 years. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have to do something. Maybe a fan motor burns out after 10 years, and that can be replaced. But, technology changes. I just bought a new 2022 C8 Corvette. It's a whole lot different than my old 63 Impala, right? And so technology changes and advances. And so as time goes by, people replace. A lot of times we do trade-in programs as technology advances where they can trade their old technology and get a nice cash credit.
Nice. I guess, do you also provide information, Mike, that Mr. Jackson, if we wanted to have information in the waiting room? Yes, there may be a sign that talks about this office is being protected by Active Pure, but do you have material that you provide so that that not only are our patients understanding what we're doing, but who knows, maybe they may take the pamphlet and share it with their family members and say, hey, it's the coolest thing. I go to Dr. Krause's office and they're protecting and cleaning the air in the office to try and make the environment as safe as possible for us. So is there material that's available for us to give our patients?
There is materials and a point of sale, little displays and things, just like when you walk into Subway and it says buy a sandwich or buy a business. They got a little brochure there, right? And so certainly we can provide that. I did a big luxury bus company. None of the seniors were going on tours to the casinos or to Washington, D.C. because they were afraid to get on a bus with a bunch of other seniors that they were going to get sick. So these buses, these tour companies were virtually almost out of business. We had a first big bus company in Pennsylvania install our technology on all their tour buses. And then we took the little video, kind of like the one that I showed today already. And when they got on the bus, the little video goes on, kind of like when you're getting ready to go on an airplane, and tells them why it's safe in there. We can do stuff like that for the doctor's offices, for Taylor, so that you could have a little TV screen in there. You can have point of sale materials. You can have brochures. So yes, sir, we have all that.
Wonderful.
And Mr. Jackson, as you would expect, there's interest in the financial aspect of obtaining these. Is there a payment plan? Is there financing? And is there a ballpark retail price you can share? Obviously knowing that the Taylor price is lower than that. Those kind of questions.
Yeah, you can figure anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 would be typical to outfit a smaller facility, maybe 2,000, 3,000 square feet. but we have given Taylor some really good GPO pricing, and so it's going to be better than that. When I deal directly with customers, we have a plan where they can do time payments. I've never done that before with the GPO, so I'd have to learn about that, gentlemen. But we can talk about that offline and figure out if there's a way to do something like that.
Can the doctors or an individual buy it from other sellers, or can it only be bought from the company?
Well, you can buy through the Taylor site. Okay. We have distributors of our technology, obviously, all over the world, but not in the medical community. The medical community is a very private community to us. We want to make sure that nothing is said that is inappropriate or overstated. So that's why I'm handling this myself with Taylor and these distinguished doctors. When I deal with major hospitals, they don't even let me do it. I own the company, owned it and founded it, but they don't even let me do it. That's a level of expertise where people that talk infectious disease prevention talk. And so, yeah, people can buy the technology elsewhere, but they're going to buy it at a higher price. That's why the Taylor GPO is such a good deal.
I don't have any more questions, Ira.
I do not have any more questions. I think that I think that you were very comprehensive in explaining everything to everybody, and I think that it was pretty clear, because I think when we got on earlier, I kind of shared with you that I was looking at the slides and they had all these numbers and graphs, and I was a little nervous that I wouldn't understand what's going on. But you made it very simple for us to understand. I am curious about one thing, although nobody else asked a question. I know that we've had a lot of issues with logistics since COVID started, with products and chips and production, and so is there any delays if a practice is determined they're interested in using ActivePure, they fill out their analysis, they figure out what they need, how quickly could they get this implemented in their practice?
Usually, if you order today, we will ship tomorrow.
Oh, I like that. That's like Amazon.
There are no back. We have over $300 million in technology tested, built in the facilities at all times. So we're a high demand technology, and we don't buy into this supply chain stuff. We did our job to make sure that we have the technology so that when your clients need it, it's there, sir. By the way, I've done thousands of presentations. This is one of the toughest ones I've ever done. I could hardly not cough every second. So thank you for bearing with me. I'm not supposed to have something like COVID, but when you go into unprotected space where people are sick, you don't know what's going to happen. And so thank you for bearing with me. It's been a real pleasure to be with you guys today.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you, and I don't think that it was much of a detraction from the presentation and from the information that you were providing. And I want to thank everybody for joining us, and the questions that they asked were very productive. I want to add one thing to Andy's. I've got a last minute question. Will anybody find these machines? I see this all the time. I'm surprised it didn't come up sooner. Am I ever going to find this machine on Amazon to buy?
You probably will. It's black market. We find them, we terminate them. But anytime you have a technology that is high demand, you're always going to have people that try to break the rules. It will not be warranted. If somebody buys a machine and they want to sell it on eBay, there's not much I can do, but we have lawyers that's all they do is make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've heard something like that before. But in closing, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to remind everybody that our next webinar is going to be February 7th, 5 p.m. Pacific Coast time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Brian Alves from Revere Shoes, comfort footwear that fit custom orthotics and AFOs. I know that's always been a problem, is getting the right shoes when you have patients in braces and AFOs and making sure that they can ambulate well. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you, and Andy did such a good job talking about getting the cost analysis for Taylor. I think the last thing that I would like to share, and this was a perfect example today, Taylor Medical isn't only about just getting the best price for the best widget. We want to educate you on what you're going to be doing in your practice. You know, like learning about new technologies that are going to make things better and safer for our patients as Active Pure Tonight, and learning how to implement new products into your practice, learning how to document accordingly when you're going to implement new practices. Taylor is here to really help support you in your practice. We're not just looking to sell you the cheapest widget. We're here to help make your practices better so that you get better outcomes for your patients, so that you're happy with the outcomes for your patients. So overall, I want to thank everybody again for joining us. Remember, we're a family, not just a community. Andy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us as well. I got to ask you one last question, Mike. How many more years are you going to keep doing this? You've been giving these lectures for 40 years. You got to stop sometime.
Yeah, I tried very hard to retire when COVID hit, and it's been unbelievable. So I told my wife, if we come down here to Merritt Island, we're just going to go bird watching, which she loves to do. And I haven't seen one bird, and I've been in front of my screen since I got here. So,
well, I think you need to make some changes. Anyway, again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Andy, it's a pleasure getting a chance to see you again, and we'll see you next month. Everybody have a wonderful night with your families, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye everybody.
Thanks. Good night.